Once the fairings are removed, it's an absolute nightmare for us mechanics. Hello everyone, welcome back to Domestic Real Racing. Today, we have another Ducati in the shop, a very classic one, the first generation Ducati Panigale V4 SP. As for this bike, it's a limited edition with only 1,500 units worldwide. It has clocked about 29,000 kilometers. We can also see that it has a lot of aftermarket modifications. Braided brake lines throughout, Brembo brake calipers, for instance, the Brembo master cylinders, including the thumb brake, the rear pressure plate, and the chain. Everything has been upgraded. When chatting with the owner earlier, he mentioned that both the front and rear Alines suspension were sent to the official Alines after-sales service department for regular maintenance. However, it still couldn't escape the common issues of a Ducati, like the oil weeping from the cylinder head and oil leaks from the rear shock. Both problems still persist. For a complete overhaul and a major service, alright, follow our camera, and let's start tearing down this V4 SP. Boiling point at 171 degrees Celsius, with a moisture content of 2.9%. Alright guys, for this Ducati V4 SP, our teardown work is pretty much complete. Right after finishing the teardown, I immediately got on a phone and video call to update the owner. I explained the condition of the bike to him. Looking over this vehicle, only the mid-pipe section has no oil leaks. Everywhere else, across the entire engine block assembly, there is quite a severe case of oil weeping. During our discussion just now, the owner explicitly told us that he wants to keep this bike forever and has no intention of selling it. Therefore, he wants us to sort it out properly for him. No matter where the issue is, fix it thoroughly once and for all. To our new viewers, don't be alarmed. There are plenty of scenes like this to come. I've always told everyone before, there are only a few reasons you'd bring your bike to me. It's either the high-pressure fuel line wasn't replaced, or it's caused by oil weeping from the cylinder head. The sludge buildup becomes so heavy that it catches fire. At the very least, it's an issue on the older V4 models where the EVAP canister solenoid valve was deleted, leaving the hose between the fuel cap and the EVAP valve unsealed. When it vents, fuel drips right onto here. It always comes down to these three reasons. Guys, you must clean up the grease and dirt in time. This sludge buildup isn't just a cosmetic issue. It is a serious safety hazard. Guys, for a high-mileage Ducati V4, once you drop the oil pan, you absolutely must check the oil pickup strainer, especially on this bike. Liquid gasket sealant was previously applied to the oil pan. After doing that, it easily leads to a major problem. The oil strainer gets clogged, which causes cylinder scoring or blows up the engine block. After taking it off, we can hear something rattling inside when we shake it. Okay, let's take a look with the borescope now, to see what treasures are hidden inside. Is there an O-ring in there? Yeah, looks like a piece of an O-ring, right? Wow, there is an excessive amount of sealant inside, more than the original black factory sealant. From this oil pickup strainer, we discovered a lot of foreign debris, especially this section of an unidentified rubber seal ring. To trace the root of the problem, we need to work our way along the clutch assembly and remove the oil filter screen as well. See that O-ring inside? Look at this, doesn't it look quite similar? The O-ring found inside the oil strainer shares the exact same thickness as the clutch cover gasket seal. During a previous installation, it might have gotten pinched and sheared off inside the engine, eventually washing down into the oil pan. Now we have pulled out the oil pump. Upon removal, we found an immense amount of sealant residue on it, and it's laid on very thick. In a moment, we will thoroughly clean this oil pump pickup screen, and then completely degrease these 4 oil pump channels. Alright guys, this Ducati we have here currently has nearly 30,000 kilometers on it. According to the standard factory maintenance manual, at this point, we should perform a valve clearance inspection. To carry out the valve clearance check, you need a specialized tool to rotate the Ducati V4 crankshaft. I looked around a lot online before. Either the prices were ridiculously high, or their designs felt a bit unergonomic and clumsy. So we modeled it in CAD ourselves and fabricated a dedicated custom tool. We use this steel tool to manually turn the Ducati's crankshaft. Any fellow mechanics who find this design convenient to use can shoot me a private message. Let's do a quick demonstration now. In my opinion, the tool we designed is incredibly efficient and easy to operate. You don't even need to hold it with your hand, and it completely eliminates the risk of stripping the threads on the engine's crankshaft. For this Ducati engine, aside from the primary oil pump strainer, there are also 4 smaller inline mesh screens. One leads to the crankshaft, while 2 others feed up to the cylinder heads. After taking them out, we also inspected them using the borescope. All the leftover liquid gasket sealant from before has been completely cleaned out. Generally, I strongly recommend that, if sealant has been applied twice in past repairs, you must flush the oil pump, the oil galleries, and the entire oil circuit. As you can clearly see in the video, a red RTV liquid gasket was used previously. The quality of that sealant was pretty poor. It crumbles at a touch, causing the oil passages and the mesh screen to become heavily packed with massive amounts of sealant residue. Therefore, when choosing a gasket sealant, try your best to opt for premium, higher grade options. Honestly, the cost difference for using a better sealant doesn't add up to much. I suggest to my fellow mechanics, next time you perform a service, try to select a slightly better quality sealant.
I'm in love with you.
The clutch plates on this bike also show signs of friction wear. It is quite severe, meaning it has definitely reached the point of replacement. The workshop manual specifies that the stack height must not be lower than 50.8 millimeters. However, its current measurement is completely below this threshold. We'll need to install a brand new clutch pack assembly for him.
Alright guys, after a full week of meticulous overhaul, this first-gen Ducati Panigale V4 SP from Fujian province can finally be considered fully restored. Why did this build take us an entire week? When this bike first arrived at the shop, it felt like its mechanical running condition was totally fine, but man, I never would have guessed, brothers. Once the fairings came off, it was an absolute nightmare for any mechanic. This Ducati had oil leaks in 5 different places: the front cylinder head cover gasket, the rear cylinder head cover gasket, the left stator/stator cover, and the right clutch side cover were all leaking oil. And you think that's all? The oil pan was leaking too at just 29,000 kilometers. While we were at it, we checked the valve clearances, replaced the cylinder head valve cover gaskets, and did a routine spark plug service. This engine is actually in decent shape. The valve clearances were completely within spec. The cylinder compression is exceptionally solid, and the leak down test we performed showed absolutely no issues either. However, past shoddy maintenance had caused the oil passages to clog up, which we cleared out entirely. We also performed a complete rebuild.
and maintenance service on the oil pump. Aside from those repairs, a full fluid flush goes without saying. Fresh engine oil, a new oil filter, and high-performance racing brake fluid. The bike originally had a set of black steel brake lines. The owner said since it's getting a major overhaul anyway, might as well change up the mood with a new color. So this time, we fitted a set of HEL, front over the fender braided steel brake lines. As the bike is sitting at 30,000 kilometers now, we also replaced the worn plates with a brand new OEM genuine clutch kit. In addition to all this, regarding standard Ducati maintenance, remember to service your rear wheel hub axle every 10,000 kilometers and maintain your rear shock linkage. Alright, that wraps up everything for today's video. Thank you all for your time and patience in watching. Hit that follow button, and I'll see you next time for more technical racing insights.